Hey, AfterBuzzers, it's your host, Lem Gonsalves here. I am here with none other than Mr. Noah Golloway, and I'm excited to have him here, and we're going to talk about American Grits.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
So like relax, I'm spilling these raps long as you feel them to the day that I drop. You'll never say that I'm not killing them, because when I am not, then I'm going to stop pinning them.
I feel like I feel like I don't even need to work out. I feel like my muscles are getting stronger. Like now, like just already with just listening to the song. Yeah. It's such a hype song. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? As you know, this is a special edition of Spotlight On. I'm super excited because I have none other than Mr. Noah Golloway. This man is amazing. Like, first of all, this song, he works out to it every day. Yep. And that's why he's got muscles everywhere, because of this song. I mean, I'm just saying, it's how it goes down. But I'm super excited. Noah, how you doing, sir?
I am good. I'm really good. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, I'm excited to have you on. This is awesome. Can we get a hand clap for Mr. Noah Golloway, please, Marissa? Yes! I love it. I love it. All right, so Noah, of course, you're making your rounds now because you are going to be starring in a new show on Fox. Yep. It's going to actually start this Thursday, called American Grit. You're going to be one of the mentors on there.
I am, yes.
And first of all, before we get into that, I kind of want to get some background. So for those of you, people that don't know you, first of all, you are from, and we talked about this earlier,
from Birmingham, Alabama.
Birmingham, Alabama. And you were in the military, Army Sergeant. And I was in the military as well.
Oh, thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you. I was actually an Army reservist for 8 years. So I was a 91 Bravo, so field medic.
Okay.
I know it's reclassified now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was back in the day.
Yeah, but you're the most important. You're an infantryman's best friend.
Yeah, that's what they said. That's what they would tell us. So can you tell a little bit about your service? And
yeah,
what you did?
I was actually in college when 9/11 happened, and I immediately dropped out. Enlisted, went through basic training, jump school, and ended up with the 101st out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and served under General Petraeus in the initial invasion of Iraq in 2003. Went back to second deployment about 3 months in, was hit by a roadside bomb, woke up 6 days later in a hospital Christmas Day.
Wow.
And found it was all news to me that I'd lost my left arm above the elbow, my left leg above the knee, with other injuries. My jaw was shattered and some other things, and that put me through a serious depression.
I can imagine.
That really bothered me. And then one day I walked out of my bedroom and my 3 young children were sitting there, and I have 2 boys and a little girl, and I realized for my boys I was setting the example of what a man is, and that's what they're going to grow up to be. Right. And for my little girl, I was showing her what a man was supposed to be, and that's what she looked for one day. And I realized I needed to make a change and make it quick. So I changed my eating habits, joined a gym, was trying to figure out how to work out, half my body at a time.
Right.
And as I progressed, I started running obstacle course races, marathons. It just kept building and building, did some rock climbing. And in 2014, I was on the cover of Men's Health, was titled their 2014 Ultimate Guy.
Wow.
And things just kept progressing from there.
That's amazing. I mean, and I know you also, because of course I did my homework, but I know you also do motivational speaking.
I do.
And I can imagine how that can play into, because even if you're talking to, fellow veterans, but also talking to just, civilians and other people and just dealing with obstacles in their life and, challenges. And I mean, that's probably a prime story that someone can use and gravitate and get something from.
It is, and I do. It's varied from, I've spoke to a lot of veterans, active duty military. I spoke at the 2014 Ryder Cup. Tom Watson invited me. I spoke to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
And then everything from elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. I've been in a room full of 200 or 300 CEOs and presidents of companies that have brought me in to talk about leadership.
Wow.
And that's kind of intimidating. And I told them that. But, in my story, I mentioned Men's Health. After Men's Health, I got a lot of phone calls. Survivor called me, wanted me to come on their show, which sounded awesome. But they told me it was X amount of weeks away from home, no contact back home. And I said, no, my children are more important. So I turned it down. Okay. Another show called. Same thing, turned it down. Dancing with the Stars called.
I wanted to talk about that.
And I was turning them down. They said, we'll put you in a house in L.A. while you're on the show. And I said, I live here in Alabama, and my 3 kids are more important. I can't do that. And they said, not a problem. Your dancer will come to Birmingham, and you will rehearse there, and you can fly back and forth. So I didn't really have an option to really say no. So I took them up on it. And it changed a lot of things for me.
Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but is that something that they do for people? Because I know they,
Well,
they
a lot of the cast members they travel a lot.
Okay.
If they're filming something somewhere, whatever they're doing, so it's not uncommon.
Okay.
But it does make it difficult because you do not take a day off.
Right.
So if we fly all day, that means we're rehearsing all night. Then you're back up early the next morning.
Wow.
But that's one thing that when you're talking about my speeches, I point that out in leadership. It starts at home. It starts with who you are at your core. And I remind myself every day that my children are more important than fame or fortune. Whatever comes up, I will never overshadow them with anything.
Wow.
And I've told a group of CEOs and presidents, I said, look, you're successful, you know a lot about leadership, but do not forget why you got to where you are. You know, what your main goal was, probably to take care of your family. Don't forget that.
I feel motivated already. I mean, I can see why you are good at what you do. That's amazing. So going back to Dance with the Stars, I know that season 20, you ended up finishing third, correct? Tell me about that. I mean, were you like a dancer? Like, is that something you got down? Do some ballroom in your spare time?
No, they asked me on that first phone call. They said, "Do you have any dance experience?" And I said, "No." They said, "Well, if you'll do a bar or club, what did you do?" I said, "I stood at the bar and ran my mouth. That's what I do." So no dance experience at all.
No dancing experience
Missing
whatsoever.
an arm and a leg. So I had Sharna Burgess as my dance partner, and she had to think outside of the box.
Wow.
To figure out a lot of the dances, the style, she had completely mixed it up to fit me.
Yeah.
And she did so well. I looked out so much with Sharna. She was incredible as a coach, a teacher, and a friend. And when I went on there, I thought I might last 3 weeks.
Might last 3 weeks.
And then coming up on week 5, we had most memorable year.
Okay.
And mine was about my military service. And I danced to Toby Keith's American Soldier. And I was at a point where I was pretty much done. In my mind, I was like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go out strong.
Right.
So we worked really hard. Every week I worked hard. No matter what I'm doing, even if I'm not really excited about it, I'm going to work hard. If you're going to dance in front of 50 million people live on television, you want to do the best you can.
Absolutely.
Well, we did the dance, and I had a one-arm lift that I did where I put Sharna above my head, and nobody had ever done that lift before.
No one had done that.
No. And when I got her up in the air, everyone in the stands jumped to their feet.
Wow.
And it was this incredible moment. And then after the song was over, I got a standing ovation from all the judges and everyone in the room. But the most impactful thing that happened was when you're done with the show, you have all these interviews of everything you do. You don't have time to check your phone because then you're getting to bed, and we get up and we fly back to Alabama and start rehearsing. Well, the next morning I get up and I had a voicemail from a veteran that I'd met at a race a couple of years earlier. And he told me that after my dance, he got a phone call from a guy he served in Iraq with. And, on Dance with the Stars, whenever you do a dance, there's a video package that plays before.
Okay.
That video package, I talked about my depression and how I didn't open up to anybody, and that prolonged my depression, made it worse. Wow. Well, this veteran that this guy had served with called him to say that he was moved by the video he saw and the dance I did, and he called to say, I'm going through some things. I need somebody to talk to. Well, then this guy called and left me a voicemail to say, Noah, you're changing lives. Wow. And I played that for Sharna. And I said, Sharna, I don't know how long we're going to be on this show, but we got to push it hard every week. It was a life-changing moment for me to realize that I was affecting people by being on this show.
Wow. That's amazing how, because you think about, Dance with the Stars, you're just out there.
Yeah.
You're just trying to be, sometimes a popularity contest or something like that. And, there are people and you end up, you start doing it. And like you said, you thought you were going to last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't dance.
Yeah.
But it was like when you got the motivation, from your friend and then saw what it was really doing, that motivated you to stay on the show for that reason.
It did. And ever since the show, here it is, it's been 1 year. I still have people reach out to me that, whether they have a disability that they struggle with, or they've just gone through some things and they connected with me. That means so much to me that it is affecting people in a positive way.
Wow. So now, moving on to American Grid.
Yes.
Was the reason why you got American Grid, was it because Dancing with the Stars and you were noticed there?
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, it's all, that's how television works. Sure. It's like who's being noticed right now.
Correct.
And so it's me, Rourke Denver, a commander from the Navy SEALs, T. Hannibal, who's a gunnery sergeant with the Marines. She just recently retired right before we started filming.
Okay.
And she's done a lot of charity work and things like that. And then Nick the Reaper Irving, who is a very successful sniper with the Ranger Battalion.
That's a bad name.
Yes. And yes. He is. Yeah. When you're with that group of people, you feel like, well, I'm in the safest place in America right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And when I got offered the chance to be one of the mentors on the show, like just being in the same group with these 3 other incredible veterans. I was honored. I was like, wow, this is incredible. And then what our jobs are, we have John Cena, who's the host.
Right.
But then us, the mentors, 16 competitors came in. They wanted to be pushed physically and mentally. And we evaluated them. We divvied them up, and I ended up with a team of 4. So you have 4 teams of 4.
4 teams of 4.
That go through these team challenges, these evolutions. That's all about making them evolve.
Wow.
And you work with your team. You motivate them. You get them through these obstacles. One team wins. 3 are out, and what those 3 teams have to do, the mentors have to choose one person from their team to go through this crazy obstacle course race called the circus, and then an endurance challenge that will go until one of the 3 quits. And that's all one episode. So, each week somebody goes home. They ring out. Now, there's one particular episode where somebody doesn't ring out. They leave in an ambulance.
Wow.
So, I mean, it gets pretty intense.
Wow.
And these people push themselves, some more than others, but the ones who push themselves to the ultimate limit, somebody that leaves in an ambulance, I'm sorry to sound like, I respect that.
Yeah.
I think that is somebody who pushed themselves.
Because they push themselves to the limit.
And that's when I told my team that. I was like, look, you're not going to die here.
Right.
Give it your all.
Right.
Do not regret anything. And that person didn't. They gave it their all, and I thought that was incredible.
Now, is there a monetary reward for this?
A team at the end can win $1 million.
Whoa.
Yes. And now if a team, the entire 4 team doesn't make it to the end, I mean, that's still, those who are left, $250,000 each.
Each person.
Yes.
So each person can get a maximum of $250,000.
Yes.
But the team total can get
It'll be
a
$1 million.
million.
Yes.
Wow. That is really dope.
It is. I'll tell you, it's awesome. And, and filming it was incredible. It was fun. Dance with the Stars is live.
Sure.
American Grit, we spent 5.5 weeks in Washington State.
I was just going to ask you where you guys filmed that.
About an hour and a half south of Seattle in a mountain. Mount Rainier's in the backdrop. We had cold weather. We had snow, rain, everything. It was perfect.
It was perfect.
And it was real intense. It was fun to shoot. It was exciting, and the promos are good. But I was telling you before we went on, a week ago I was in D.C. and me and T hosted a premiere party of the first episode. And the USO teamed up with Fox, and we had all these active duty military come, and we watched the first episode. Then we did a Q&A afterwards. When I watched that first episode, like, I'm not just saying it because I was on it.
Right.
Like, when the opening credits started rolling, I was like, whoa, this is good. Then watching it, the way they edit it, seeing scenes that I wasn't part of, the other teams. At the end, I knew who was going to win, but I was sitting on the edge of my seat, wanting to know what's about to happen. It was so good.
It was that good.
Yes.
It was that good. Now, when you talk about, these endurance challenges and things that they're doing, I remember, going back to my stay, being in the military, being in the Army, and going through basic training.
Yeah.
That still is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. How would you equate it? Because you've obviously done the same thing. How would you equate that?
These challenges are military inspired.
Okay.
A lot of them will be based off, like, there may be an evolution that is based off Rourke's, the fact that he was a Navy SEAL.
Okay.
Have something to do with boats and things like that. And another one may have to do with toting a log around, whatever it is. But there's also mental challenges, which I loved. Because as a combat veteran, when you're in combat as an infantry soldier, you have, anybody, you're out in combat, you got to be physically strong, but also mentally focused.
Absolutely.
And that can be stressful. And you see the stress levels rise as they're drained physically. And then it's like, okay, now part of this challenge, you have to think. You have to do math or a riddle, whatever it is. And that made it so exciting and intense to watch.
Wow.
And be part of.
I'm super excited for this show. It just seems like, and two, you think about it, and these people, they aren't military people.
No, they're not.
They're just, obviously tough, people, and decided to sign up for this because of, the mental and physical toughness.
They range from their 20s to their early 50s.
Oh, wow.
Backgrounds of SWAT team, Olympic gold medalist, bodybuilder, one of them, she was on a fishing boat for 20 years, a lumberjack.
Oh, wow.
Then you have stay-at-home moms.
Really?
You have, a stay-at-home mom who's in the roller derby.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And
Okay.
it's who's got the biggest heart.
Right.
It doesn't matter how big and strong you are.
Sure.
It's what you're willing to put out there.
Wow. And I don't think, based on what you're telling me, I don't know that we've had a reality type competition show like this.
People have said to me, "Is this like this other show?" And it's not.
Yeah,
it is.
Doesn't seem like
and
it.
it's really impressive the way it played out and the way that we, I think Rourke, Nick, T, all the same way. You become very protective of your team. You're involved with them.
Absolutely.
You want to see them succeed. And I think it's good because it shows people a side of the military that those who have never served don't know. Because everyone thinks that, well, the military is just what they've seen of basic training.
Right.
And that's just a small portion of your military time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get to see leadership from 4 different individuals that aren't just in your face. It's actually team building. It's working with each person and trying to form a team. Wow. And that's what I think is going to be really good about it. Wow. I think that, I mean, my opinion is I think it's going to be such a positive thing that the military is going to be proud of.
Really?
Yes.
At that level?
Yes.
Wow. I mean, I think that speaks so much volumes, and it makes sense too because you have. I mean, obviously John Cena is a very popular character,
Yes.
but to have you all having previous military background in different forms, that to me brings the legitimacy of this competition.
Yes.
Because you have real military people that have served, that have been in this, yourself included with the combat and all of that. So to me, and I knowing that, and especially even hearing your story and kind of, getting the information for this interview, I was like, okay, it makes sense. It makes sense why he's here.
Yeah.
It makes sense why these other people, and then seeing the format of the show. So to me, and then being a previous military person, I'm like, oh, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be super legit.
I've been excited about the show, but like I said, until I saw that first episode, like now I am giddy with excitement for Thursday night. Like I cannot believe how amazing the show. Like I knew it was gonna be good,
Right.
But when I saw that, I was like, "Well, this is gonna be a hit.
Yeah.
Like, this is gonna be huge."
I also like the fact you said giddy because
Yeah, I
I
know.
haven't heard that in so long. But yeah,
I know it makes you say things you wouldn't normally say.
it makes you say giddy. That's how amazing this show is. Makes you say giddy. No, that's amazing. So now, what's next for you? Obviously, you filmed the show. This is going to be airing, and it's going to, of course, increase your popularity.
Yeah, hopefully it goes to a season 2, season 3, season 4, and we the mentors, we're part of the show, so we would keep going.
You
with
would
all
keep
of that.
continuing if they picked it up.
Yes, I'm looking forward to knowing when we're going to shoot season 2.
Oh, wow.
Have a new group of competitors coming
Okay.
in. I got a book coming out in August.
Okay.
Still going back and forth with the title and doing the final things.
Sure.
But we're shooting for August of that, and I've got doing a lot of motivational speaking. I love doing that. When I share my story, it's it's funny when people say that I touch them, I help them through something. I'm like, when I share my story,
Right.
it does that for me.
It does.
And I love sharing my story, and it's awesome that so many people have heard my story and they want me to come and speak and be a part of their events. So I do a lot of that, and more importantly, I make sure I spend time with my kids. I don't overlook that. We've got summer coming up. We're already planning a big trip, me and the kids, and gonna have a good time.
Now, what's the book about? Is it the story of your life?
It is. It is.
Okay.
My life, the military, my injury. One thing I was made sure of that the publishing company knew in the beginning that I wanted, not that they were going to argue with me, but just to make sure that I wanted to really go into depth after my injury during my depression.
Okay.
I was very vulnerable with working with that part, the tears, the sadness, everything, because I didn't want someone to read my book and it be, and then I get injured and I lose an arm and a leg, and then, I'm on the cover of Men's Health, and then I'm on Dance with the Stars and American Grit. That's not how it plays out.
Right.
Because somebody would read it who's going through something, through some depression, and they wouldn't be able to connect with that. I want to share everything so that somebody out there who, whether they've had a physical injury or not, that are going through depression, can see that, I can relate to that, and I should probably see help.
Right.
Because it drives me crazy that it's getting better, but if you have heart problems, you see a heart specialist. We are still not ready to accept the fact that if there's something going on with your brain, with your mind, you go see a specialist.
Right.
There should be no question about that.
Absolutely.
Everybody has some sort of depression at some point of their life they go through. You go get help, you fix it, you move on. You don't let it drag on.
And I think it's important you say that too, because we do see a lot of people, especially just in the military alone,
Yes.
with PTSD and things of that nature, that they don't either get help or they don't know that that's what they
Yes,
need.
exactly.
And they end up suffering, and, a lot of things happen, and it affects their life in a negative way.
It does.
So I can see how, someone like you who's overcome that can talk to these people and kind of shed light, not
Yes.
only of that.
Get rid of the
but just
stigmatism.
Exactly.
I hate it. It drives me crazy.
Exactly. And I think that's great, what you're doing. And I think you should definitely continue doing that. And I hope that, and I think with this show that you're going to be on, with American Grit, I'm sure that you were able to do that with the 4 people that you got to mentor.
You go with your teams, you do go through, you know, you got those that are just striving every time, and then you got others that just need a little pick me up.
Right.
Hey, look, you can get through this.
Yes.
You've got it inside you.
Absolutely. I'm excited, man. I'm really excited. I want to thank you so much for coming by and just letting us know what was going on and sharing your story. I'm excited to see you in action in your team. I'm going to be rooting for your team.
There you go.
Nobody else's team. But yours.
That's right. I like it. I like it.
No, I'm rooting for your team, but I think it's going to be an amazing show, and I do hope that it is successful and you continue to have season 2,
thank
3.
you.
Based on what you're telling me, I cannot see why not.
Yeah.
Especially with you see the success of like shows like Survivor.
Yep.
And I'm only saying that just because they're competition reality shows.
Yeah.
But you know, you see Survivor successful, you see The Biggest Loser is successful. You know, these motivating type
I could
shows
use that job security.
Yeah. I see that. I see you got 3 kids.
Yes.
I see that. But no, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been our Spotlight with Noah. Again, make sure you tune into American Grit on Fox. It's going to be at 8 o'clock. Make sure you tune in and, again, root for his team because his team needs to win because he's the man. And that's how it gets down. I've been your host, Lem Gonsalves. You can find me all the time on The Poet Saint. That's on all my social media handles. Noah, where can they find you if they want to reach out in social media land?
NoahGalloway.com is the website.
Okay.
But you have at Noah_Galloway on Twitter. Noah Galloway Athlete is Instagram, and Noah Galloway Athlete is Facebook.
Awesome. And
But you can find them all, I think, from the website.
Right.
You can find my social media from there too.
So you can go to the website and everything is there.
NoahGalloway.com, yes.
Boom. NoahGalloway.com. Go to it. And you should have like a voting meter for like, you know, people like have American Idol.
Yeah.
And it's just vote for his team. Like it doesn't matter, but just vote just because you can. That's how it goes down. All right. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.